Rasul said sa'ah. So sa'ah is normally translated as an hour. Sa'ah, the word sa'ah in the Arabic language is also sometimes used as a moment. So it can refer to a amount of time, but not restricted to a certain amount. So it can be an hour, 60 minutes, or it can be longer, or it can be shorter. So Rasul said that there is a sa'ah on the day of Yawm al-Jum'ah. If your dua was to coincide or fall in the sa'ah, and then your dua will be readily accepted by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So these various opinions of the ulama, some of the ulama mention that it's between the two khutbahs. When the khatib sits down, before he gets up for the second one, they have the opinion that this is the sa'ah. Others are the opinion that as long as the khatib is doing the khutbah, he must make dua. So how is this if we're supposed to keep quiet? So they mention you should make istihdar of the dua. Bring it present to your heart. Subhanahu wa ta'ala looks at your heart. The heart is the mahallu nadhrillah. It's the place where Allah gazes. So Allah knows, He is well aware of what you're thinking, and is well aware of what you desire. So, and then there are other scholars that are the opinion that this period now, after Asr till Maghrib, is the time where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala really accepts your dua. And some of the ulama mentioned that this is the time that Sayyidatina Fatima and her husband Sayyidina Ali karramallahu wajha, they took out time. They put everything aside and they spent the time from now till Maghrib in the ibadah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Turning to Allah, asking Allah through dua, remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And therefore, this time is, we called it the Sa'a Fatimiyah, the Fatimid hour. Because it's attributed to Sayyidina Fatima, and she was of the opinion, although the scholars mentioned that she kept this time alive in ibadah, and this is indication that she had the opinion that this was the Sa'a of Ijabah, the accepted hour. And she wouldn't have done anything except through the irshad and the guidance of her father, Sayyidina Mustafa Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. And it's ajib because today is the birthday of Sayyidatina Fatima. The 20th of Jumada al-Akhirah is the birthday of Sayyidatina Fatima az-Zahra. And I feel that we speak too little about Sayyidatina Fatima. And we, as a believer, your iman cannot be complete if you do not completely love Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And this is mentioned in ayat, and Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam explicitly mentioned it in a hadith to Sayyidina Umar, the ayah that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, إن كان آباؤكم وأبناؤكم وأخواتكم وأزواجكم وعشيرتكم وأموال اقترفتموها وتجارة تخشون كسادها ومساكن ترضونها أحب إليكم من الله ورسوله وجهاد في سبيله فتربصوا. Allah listed all the things. If your parents, your children, your brothers, your wives, your spouses, and your business and your property and everything that you do, your income is more Allah and His Prophet and spending time in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, fatarabbasu. Then just wait. Almost like to say, you're going to see what's going to happen to you. fatarabbasu hatta ya'ti Allahu bi amri. Hatta fatarabbasu, no? Hatta ya'ti Allahu bi amri, until Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brings about His command or His matter upon you. And then the hadith we spoke about is when Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Sayyidina Umar came to Sayyidina Rasulullah and he said, Ya Rasulullah, I love you more than everything in the entire world except myself. He said, I love you more than everything and anyone except myself. And then Sayyidina Rasulullah told him that not yet, Ya Umar, meaning that your iman is not complete yet. And then he went away and he thought, what is this now? And then he realized that how can I love myself more than Rasulullah? And then he came back to Rasulullah. So he said, Ya Rasulullah, I love you more than everything and anyone, and more than myself, even more than myself. And then Rasulullah said, Al-an ya Umar. And then Rasulullah, Al-an, now your iman is complete. La yu'minu ahadukum hatta akuna ahabba ilayhi min walidihi wa waladihi wa nas ajma'in. Rasulullah said that your iman will not be complete until I'm more beloved to you than your father and your offspring and every single person under the sun. Then you have complete iman. And then there's a hadith when Rasul said, Fatima to bid'atu minni. That Fatima is a part of me. Anything that angers her angers me. And anything that brings happiness to her brings happiness to me. Makes me happy. Anything that makes her happy makes me happy. So if you were to think like logically, if she is a part of Rasul, so a part of her is, a part of Rasul is Sayyidatina Fatima. And if you do not love Sayyidatina Fatima, you do not completely love Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which means that can your iman be complete? I'm not saying you don't have iman. We're talking about complete iman if you do not love Sayyidatina Fatima. So because she is the most beloved to Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam is Allah Jalla Jalaluhu wa Ta'ala fi ula. So I think it's appropriate for us to speak about Sayyidatina Fatima Zahra. Man is lectured about Sayyidatina Fatima, and last week it won't be enough. But what can we say about Sayyidatina Fatima? To speak about her father, to say that she's the daughter of Rasul sallallahu is enough. To say that she's the daughter of Sayyidatina Khadija al-Kubra, that's enough. She's the mother of Sayyidina Hassan and Hussein, Sayyida Shababi Ahli Jannah, the masters of the youth of Jannah. To say that she is the master of the women folk of Jannah. She is the wife of Sayyidina Ali Karramallahu Wajhah, Babu Madin. He's the door to the city of knowledge, who is Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. So I mean that is enough. But she's known as Al-Zahra. She's known as Al-Batul. Al-Zahra meaning she is the radiant one. So the one meaning is that she is radiant, meaning that her complexion was radiant. And we spoke about this, but I want to speak about it again. Her complexion was radiant and with a touch of redness. It is similar to the complexion of Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because she resembled Rasul sallallahu the most. Sayyidatina Aisha said that she resembled Rasul sallallahu the most. Even the way Rasul sallallahu walked, she resembled the way Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The other meaning is that she was radiant, meaning that the way we see the stars from this earth, she was seen from the inhabitants of the samawat, of the heavens, like we see the stars from the earth. And this means like when my wife told me that one of the female scholars mentioned that the meaning of this is like in the depths of the night, in the darkness of the night, when everyone was sleeping, she was up in ibadah. So she was shining to the inhabitants of the heaven, like the stars were shining to us in the depths of the night. So Al-Zahra, and then Al-Batul, she was devoted to our Lord subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then we had our teacher giving her other sifat like Al-Zahida, the ascetic one, Qa'ima, the one who stood in prayer, Sawwama, excessive in fasting, Qawwama, excessive in praying to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and so many other names. Now, al-Tahira, the pure one, Sayyidatina Fatima. And then she was born 5 years before Nubuwah. And it's ajib, at the same time that the Kaaba was rebuilt. And some of the scholars mention that in this is a subtle meaning that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allowed or ordained. So as the Kaaba was rebuilt, she came into this world, and she is the household, the head of the household of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So as the house, the Kaaba of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala rebuilt, she was born and she came into this world, and she basically was the origin or all the offspring of the household of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam came into this world. But today, more specifically, I was reading about the wedding of Sayyidatina Fatima and Sayyidina Ali. Ajib. Sayyidina Fatima and Sayyidina Ali, when she reached the age of 18. And then the Sahaba, thought, okay, obviously she was the daughter of Rasulullah. Who wouldn't want to get married to her? But the Sahaba like Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq and Sayyidina Umar, their concern was that obviously they want to be part of the household of Rasulullah, but also they want to assist Rasulullah. So if they get married to Sayyidatina Fatima, they relieve Rasulullah somewhat of his obligations in seeing to her and seeing to her worldly needs and so on. And then Sayyidina Abu Bakr approached Rasulullah and he said, Abu Bakr as-Siddiq. He reads Siddiqiyya, which is a martaba beneath Nubuwah. So his wilaya was another level. Abu Bakr as-Siddiq. So he comes to Rasulullah and he asks Rasulullah for the hand of Fatima in marriage. And Sayyidina Muhammad he doesn't reply, keeps quiet. Doesn't say yes, doesn't say no, just keeps quiet. And then Sayyidina Abu Bakr leaves and he tells Sayyidina Umar, okay, you can try. So Sayyidina Umar goes and he tries and same thing. Sayyidina Muhammad says he doesn't say anything. And then he comes back and they see Ali. Sayyidina Ali karramallahu wajhah. And they say, yeah, Ali, you one of the first to take the shahada and this and that, and you have a high status by Rasulullah. Why don't you go try and ask for Sayyidina Fatima's hand in marriage? And Sayyidina Ali agrees, and he goes to the house of Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he's overtaken with humility and he's shy and he's Rasulullah can see in his eyes he's shy, and he can see in his eyes that he wants to ask something. And then he asked Sayyidina Ali, what has brought you? Sayyidina Ali. And then Sayyidina Ali says, Ya Rasulullah, I was thinking about Fatima. And he stops. And he can't go on. And the Rasulullah says, Marhaban, marhaban, welcome, welcome. And he doesn't say anything. And he can't speak any longer, and he just leaves. And he just leaves. And then there's many narrations speaking about this happening, but the one narration says that Rasulullah was in a mosque then thereafter, and then Rasulullah announced, and he said that verily Fatima was married to Sayyidina Ali by Allah in the celestial realm, and I marry him to Sayyidina Fatima. So the marriage was ordained by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the heavens. And then Rasulullah followed through on this earth. And then Sayyidina Ali didn't have anything, because he was brought up in the household of Rasulullah. And Rasulullah chose the life of poverty. He chose it. And he was given the opportunity to choose the life of a king prophet or a slave prophet or a poor prophet. And he chose to be a slave prophet. And we spoke about this, the status of being a slave of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is totally different to any other connotation of the word abd, slave. Because being a slave of Allah is karam in it, is nobility, because you're connected to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Anyway, so he chose that, and he was brought up in this household, so he didn't have anything. He chose to live this life. So in Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam asked him, Ya Ali, what do you have for a dowry? So he said, Ya Rasulullah, I have a sword and I have a shield that you gave me. That's all. So Rasulullah said, as for the sword, keep the sword, because you're going to need it when you fight in the path of Allah. But you can sell the shield. Sell the shield, and you can use it as the dowry. Then Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he sold the shield, or Sayyidina Ali sold the shield for 480 dirhams to Sayyidina Uthman. Sayyidina Uthman bought it, 480 dirhams. And I heard, Allahu A'lam, that Sayyidina Uthman, after he bought it, gave the shield back to him. So then Rasul took the dowry, took a third of it, and he bought perfume and things for Sayyidina Fatima, and the rest he gave it to Sayyidatina Aisha and another wife of the Prophet to buy things for the house of Sayyidatina Fatima. So then they went to prepare the house of Sayyidatina Fatima. And that's now the preparation now started for the wedding of Sayyidina Ali and Sayyidatina Fatima. So now when you think about the preparation of the wedding of any wedding, you're gonna think of how the female is. Oh, my dress and my shoes and my handbag and the menu, and you're gonna check out everything, and they're gonna tell you, here's the house, and I want this sofa and I want this couch, and they show you the couch, and no, I don't want that one, and I want to change this, and this is not right, and my dress has to be perfect, and this is normal. We see it all the time, but that's not what Sayyidatina Fatima chose. She wasn't, and she basically handed the amr over to who was ever seeing to the wedding. And we see this is what she chose. And she's the leader, the master of females. She should be the qudwa. We're not saying don't have a beautiful wedding, but she chose the life of simplicity. Choosing simplicity in this life to get the great reward in the Akhirah. And again, my wife was telling me that a friend of her told her, and that one of the teachers in Tarim. So in Tarim was very hot, extremely hot. And the females need to be complete hijab. So you can imagine how hot they're getting, right? So the one teacher was now telling the females that the more you sweat in this dunya, the less you'll sweat on the day of Qiyamah. Ajib, no? The more you sweat in this dunya, sacrificing for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I think it's more general than just hijab. You think about it. And my father, Shaykh Ibrahim, always says, many times he says, al-Rahatu fil Akhirah. That work in this dunya, and then your istiraha, your relaxation will be in the Akhirah. So work hard now for a short period of time, and in the Akhirah you will relax forever. Right? So what happened was Sayyidatina Aisha and another wife of Rasulullah, they were preparing the house. So they went to buy things. And they went to, so what do you think? I'm narrating this from a book I read from, a very short treatise that Habib Muhammad bin Abdul Rahman as-Saqaf. It's titled The Liege Lady Sayyidatina Fatima. Everybody must read it. I feel like everybody. And it's very quick. You can read it maybe in a day. So he says that Sayyidatina Fatima, or they went out, and normally what we're going to put in now the best carpet. It's your bruidskamer, right? Your bruidskamer, you're going to have like a thick carpet, walk nice, comfortable. The floor of Sayyidatina Fatima's house was soft sand. That's what they bought for us. They bought soft sand, they laid it down on the floor, and that was it. They couldn't find a mat, so they bought soft sand and they laid it out flat on the floor in the house of Sayyidatina Fatima az-Zahra. And the house was not bigger than 2.5 by 2 meters. And then they bought a leather pillow filled with palm fibers. And this was the bed that Sayyidina Fatima and Sayyidina Ali slept on. And they brought a wooden rod, and they stuck it in the wall, between two walls like this. And that was basically their wardrobe. They hung all the clothes on there. And they bought also 2 jars. The one was to store the water, or rather to store the food that they crushed and store the water, and also a leather bag and a crusher, what do you call it now? Pestle, pestle and mortar, something like that. Basically a crusher to crush the wheat and the barley and so on. And this was the house. This was the preparations for the wedding of Sayyidatina Fatima Zahra. Then Sayyidina Hamza, he brought 2 camels. They slaughtered it, and he saw to the food. And Sayyidina Aisha said, for the wedding of Sayyidina Fatima, we had dates and dry figs, but it was the best wedding I ever attended. Simple. The more simple the wedding, the more barakah there is in the zawaj, in the wedding, in the union. Now, so the life of Sayyidatina Fatima was a simple one. She chose the life of asceticism, zuhad. And we see it, the narration we also quoted in the Jumada last week was when she came to her father. They had nothing in the house. And she came to her father and she said, Ya Rasulullah, that we see that there was some ghanima that came in, some booty, and can we have some of the livestock? And then the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam told him, I can give you 5 goats, or I can teach you 5 words that Jibreel taught me. And then she said, okay, teach me the words rather. The tarbiyah. Don't look to the sabab, turn to the musabbib, turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the one that gives means. Don't turn to the means only, but put your reliance on the one who gives the means, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then he taught her to say, Allahumma ya awwal al-awwalin, wa ya akhir al-akhirin, wa ya dhal quwwat al-mateen, wa ya rahim al-masakin, wa ya arham al-rahimin. It means that all the first of the first, and the last of the last, and the absolute powerful Quwwat al-Mateen, wa ya Rahim al-Masakin, the one who has mercy on the impoverished, the poor, wa ya Arham al-Rahimin, and the most merciful of those who show mercy. And then call out to Allah. Then she went back to Sayyidina Ali. And Sayyidina Ali also, with nothing, coming with nothing, where's the goats? And then she said that I went to my father asking for the dunya and I came back with the akhirah. That was a response to Sayyidina Ali karramallahu wajhah. This obviously now, this might sound really far-fetched for us. But this is something we should work towards. And zuhud doesn't mean that you denounce the world that you now cut yourself off completely and you. No, Imam al-Ghazali rahimahullah ta'ala, he mentioned that zuhud means that you do not allow the world to enter into your heart. So you cut your heart off from the dunya. So you can have the dunya, but don't let it overpower your heart. Al-Habib Ali al-Jifri said to keep the dunya in your hand. So you have the dunya, keep it in your hand. Don't let it into your heart. So when it's in your hand, you can easily just let go of it. Easily. But when it's in your heart, you must work, take it out, then give it, and then throw it away and denounce it. And another thing that the tasbih felt to me, and it's something we hear all the time. She came to Sayyidina Ali, so that they gained ghanima, they got booty, no? No. And then he said, Sayyidina Fatima developed calluses, and then he said, go ask your father for a slave, a servant, to assist you. So she went and she never found her father there. She found Sayyidatina Aisha. And Sayyidina Aisha told her father, then her father came to her house afterwards. And now Sayyidina Ali and Sayyidina Fatima sitting there, and Sayyidina Muhammad comes in, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Ajib, the other household. You imagine. And they say Sayyidina Fatima and Sayyidina Ali would lay in the bed and they would cover their feet, and then their heads and their shoulders would be open. And if they cover the shoulders and the heads, then their feet would be open. That's the blanket that they were used to use. And Sayyidina Muhammad, when he came in, he would lay in between him and he put his feet under the blankets. And Sayyidina Ali would say, I could feel the coldness of the feet of Rasulullah on my abdomen. Ajib, no? Subhanallah. And then he taught him, then she came and then he asked him, I heard you came searching and looking for me. And then Sayyidatina Fatima was too shy to ask. And then Sayyidina Ali said, I will speak, Ya Rasulullah. He said, your shoulders of your daughter has blackened from carrying the water. And her hands has become, developed calluses from grinding the grain, from the wheat and the barley. Is there no servant that can assist her with the chores? Then Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said that I will give you something better. And again, they readily accepted the advice of Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And then he said they gave him the tasbih Fatimi. Say before going to bed, 33 times Subhanallah, and 33 times Alhamdulillah, and 33 times or 34 times Allahu Akbar. Before going to bed. So how many times have you heard this before? But if you have to be honest with yourself, how often do you practice it? And how consistent are you in practicing it? This is the nasiha of Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam to his beloved daughter Sayyidina Fatima. And don't you think this is the nasiha of the beloved to the beloved? We should develop certainty that there is great assistance in the advices of Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. You should not have doubt at all. If you're feeling difficulty during the day,